You see this? You could be doing this too. You can be spamming boundless cold snap grenades, freezing all the enemies and holding them back to give your teammates enough time so that you can survive the onslaught in these GMs. I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do this, so if you stick with me, I'm going to go through the build step by step. Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Evo and welcome back to another day in Destiny 2 for some more Destiny 2 content and Season of the Plunder intel news. Today I have a build for you guys using the Osmiomancy gloves, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to build it and what you guys need so you can spam boundless cold snap grenades. Let's get straight into it. Like I said, the exotic we're going to be using will be the Osmiomancy gloves. These gloves bring the entire build together and make sure it synergizes very well. The reason for that is with the Osmiomancy gloves, you gain an additional cold snap grenade, and when you do throw that cold snap grenade, if it freezes multiple enemies, so think of 2+ enemies, it's gonna refund the entire grenade back. So with that in mind, the only other thing we need to do with this build is number 1, stay alive, and number 2, be able to spam more grenades. That's it. That's all we need for this build. We need the exotic, and then we need to be able to spam that grenade. So I'm going to show you guys how I've been doing it, and this is a good build setup just to hold the enemies back in the GMs so your team has enough time to kill them, and just to overall survive in these GMs when you get that onslaught of enemies. Let's get straight into it. So I'm going to start with the armor pieces first, because that's what's most important instead of just building your Stasis subclass. So for the armor pieces, we want to become charged with light, and we want to use firepower. So I'm going to show you guys how I'm doing that. On my helmet, I have charge harvester. That means when I'm not charged with light, any kill or assist has a small chance to give me charged with light. So if whenever I'm using my Zalu's Bane, my Quillen's Terminus, any other gun, anytime I get a kill, it's going to give me a small percentage chance to become charged with light. Other mod I'm running will be stacks on stacks, so whenever I become charged with light, I get an extra stack of charged with light. Means with charge harvester combined, anytime I get a kill, if that kill makes me charged with light, I'm going to have charge with light times 2. And getting just 1 charge with light stack, I'm going to gain 2 charge with light stacks, and that's going to pair well with the only other mods I will be running. I'll be running 3 firepower mods. And what firepower does is every time you are charged with light, you're going to regain a portion of your grenade energy when you use your grenade, consuming 1 stack of charge with light. And since we're using stacks on stacks combined with charge harvester, we're going to have 2 stacks of light for our 2 Osmiomancy gloves cold snap grenades. So every time you throw that grenade out and you're charged with light, you're going to be getting a 50% back before it hits an enemy. And if it hits an enemy, well, you're going to be refunded your entire grenade back. All you have to do is consistently hit enemies. Now, that's all I'm doing for my armor piece. I'm becoming charged with light, and I'm using my charge with light so I can gain more grenade energy back, so I can just spam my cold snap grenades. Now, the other thing I do like to do, let's get into this, the Shadebinder subclass, is I like to use Bleak Watcher, because sometimes you don't need to throw a cold snap grenade, you need to throw down a turret so that you can just keep the heavy hitting ads away from the group long enough so you can kill the lightweight ads in the beginning set of the room. If you guys get what I mean. If you have an overload champion that's smaller than a glassface strike all the way in the back, maybe you want to hold it there for a second so you can take care of the other overload champion in the beginning of the room or to the left. That's why I go with Bleak Watcher. The other aspect I use is Ice Flare Bolts, just so that they can track. You want to be able to freeze other targets from just shattering one target, so you can just lock down an entire room almost by yourself and be able to hold those ads back for your teammates again. Those are 2 things that do matter. You can always switch out Bleak Watcher for Frost Pulse, but there's no reason really why you should be using Frost Pulse, because you're going to need Bleak Watcher for those sticky circumstances when you need to hold back those grenades. Alright, obviously we want to be using cold snap grenade because that's what pairs well with Osmiomancy gloves. That's what makes the build work. If you're not using cold snap grenades, then you're not doing it right. You're doing something crazy. Everything else is pretty standard. We're going to be using Penumbral Blast, Burst Glide, Healing Rift, and of course this is the only super you can use on Stasis for a Warlock. The fragments, the only thing I like to do on my fragments is just make sure I'm getting 100 resilience and almost 100 discipline. So the fragments, they matter, but they don't matter as much as the exotic and the perks you're using to spam your grenade. I'm using Whisper of Fissures, so I'm using Whisper of Fissures just to increase the size of a crystal when I defeat a target. That's it. It's not that important. It just helps a little bit. But the only thing that really matters for this build, I can't stress enough, is just the exotic and being able to spam those close snap grenades. The second exotic, Whisper of Change. So while you're near a frozen target or a stasis crystal, you take reduced damage from targets. Plus you get an extra 10 recovery, which I do like. That's why I'm using it. For the third fragment, we're going to be using Whisper of Shards. We're using this mainly because of the plus 10 resilience. Although it is nice to shatter a stasis crystal and temporarily boost your grenade recharge rate, that does not matter because we're almost refunding our grenade 100% if you're able to spam your grenade correctly with the Osmiomancy glove, and if you're charged with light using Charge Harvester combined with firepower. The last fragment we will be using will be Whisper of Endurance. That just means that the slow from your abilities lasts longer. So when you do freeze a target, they're going to be frozen for just a little bit longer. That is nice to have. That's it for the build. With this build, we just want to be spamming our grenade, holding back the enemies, making sure that those filthy enemies don't come near our teammates, stay in the back. You can play aggressive with this build by just doing your cold snap grenade, or you can even make it into a turn and just sit back and watch all the enemies freeze to help out your team. And you can even chuck a grenade, like let's say for instance you're in Kingsfall Red, you can chuck a grenade from the right side of the room all the way to the left side of the room. If you know that your homeboy is still dying from ads, even though the red has been off for damn near 6 weeks now, almost. So, you know, just help your teammates out with this build. And that's it. That's all I have for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will leave a dim link in the bio so that you guys can try it out. Let me know what you guys think.